All right, let's go. Trying to make sure we go live here. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Right, shout out where you're from. Hello. Hello, hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Let's do it. Let's get down to it. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is the webinar for those of you who don't already know. So if you have not gotten into the webinar yet, if you have not clicked the link yet, make sure you do so on Instagram. Click the link in my bio. On TikTok, click the link in my bio. Los Angeles, Australia, stand up. It's good to see all of you. It's good to see all of my people. You're all family to me. I just want you to know that. Everyone on here is family to me, and I want you to know that your fridges are not safe. Like, I will go through your fridge. I am not ashamed of it. I love to eat. Okay? He said VA all day. Are you in Virginia? You must be in Virginia. See, Virginia boys, we are out here. Virginia boys, right? But yes, love y'all so much. I just want to spread love today. It's going to be a short time, but I really need you to click on that link for tomorrow because we are going to have it. It's only a few spots left. We have been filling up all week and we keep opening up. We opened up a few more because people are excited. So go ahead and click that link. Do not hesitate because it is tomorrow. Get in while you can. Let's go. You said H-Town. Good to see you, H-Town. Houston is at Houston, Texas, right? If you're dealing with someone long-term, like 15 plus years, is it normal to feel like you may no longer love each other? Yes. A lot of people, fall out of love pretty easy, believe it or not, because number one, you may not even know who you were at the time that you fell in love with them. You may have changed as a person. They may have changed as a person. There's so many different changes that can happen. And number one is that if you guys aren't taking the time to work through those changes, right? Because love isn't just a feeling. It takes a lot of effort, right? It is effort. So, and I think a lot of people forget that when they sign up for it. They're like, oh, well, I'm in love. I found a person. I love them. They love me. We're done, right? We can just relax and watch Netflix every weekend. Yeah, sure, right? You can start there. But the reality is that now it's a little bit of a job. It's a job position because to keep this love going, you're going to need to service each other. And I'm not saying that's not what you guys did, but if any of you fell short of that, if any of you felt like, oh, well, I don't want to have to do all that, I don't want to have to work through all of this, and you started to let, things fall to the wayside, then after a while, there's a huge possibility that it's going to die. Like, for example, you hear people say it all the time. Well, you used to do this, right? You used to do this. You used to buy flowers. You used to want to go to walks in the park. We used to stay up all night talking. We used to, review movies together. We used to do these things. See, what happens is sometimes people, when they fall in love, right, which is, kind of an infatuation period, it's off the excitement of the newness, right? The newness really gets people going. Oh man, it's new. I feel good about you. You feel good about me. Let's do it. So with that newness, you are now motivated to act a certain way that you normally wouldn't act, right? This is not your normal day to day. You're doing things outside of your comfort zone now, right? Most of us do because we come from two different worlds. So in order to merge worlds, we have to dive into each other's worlds a little bit and do things that we may not necessarily are used to, right? We're not used to. So what we do is we put in this effort for the person, and then If the feeling isn't there all the time, we start to dial back that effort. But see, that's where there's a complication, because if you just dial back the effort simply because of a feeling, because sometimes the feeling comes and goes, right? Sometimes the feeling is in waves. Sometimes the feelings are fickle, kind of like being hungry. Sometimes you're hungry, you're real hungry one day, and then the next day you're not that hungry, right? So what does that mean? Does that mean that you're not a hungry person? No. It just means that you need to do the effort regardless of how you feel in that moment, and it will come back, right? It's a consistent effort. Love, true love, not just the feelings, but the reality. The reality of actual love is consistent effort. Consistently showing effort. I've been dating someone for 2 years. They blindsided me by breaking up. I said cruel things. Okay. What do you want me to say? How do you know I'm worthy for new love, not just a feeling? Thought that I'm better now than in my previous relationship. How do I know that you are personally worthy of anything? I don't know, right? And number one, that's not for me to decide. You know, I am not judge, jury, and executioner. I can't say you are worthy. I can say, what qualities do you have that would work in a good relationship? I can let you know that, but I can't say what you're worthy or not worthy of. I think that's more for you to decide than me. But I can definitely give you some insight into, as a person, right? What qualities do you have that would be great for a mutually respectful and beneficial relationship? I can do that. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much. He said he was going to block me and hasn't. I love him and didn't mean the cruel things I have fears and didn't mean. So then why don't you just apologize? If you didn't mean it, why don't you apologize? I always wanted us to work together. You did? And what did he say? I always want us to work together against problems, yet he created these scenarios where I was maliciously attacking. How do I bring up issues without seeming mean? So first of all, if a person is going to take everything you say the wrong way, and they're not going to actually try to communicate through these situations and understand where you're coming from, then that's a person that's not good character, right? It is not good character to take someone's words and say they mean something else than what they actually mean. That's a twist of words. I don't think that's good for a relationship. That's manipulation. And some people will do that. Some people will take the few words that you have, take it the total opposite way, have inner dialogue, and not allow you to provide clarity. Like, how did you come to all these conclusions without me? That's one of my biggest pet peeves, right? So if someone takes everything you say as a personal attack and they don't tell you how you can make it better. See, it's one thing to say, okay, you said that kind of crazy, right? I'm going to need you to, say it this way, because that way it just makes me feel attacked. That's what communication is. We can talk through even the hard parts of our communication, right? We can say, hey, that made me feel uncomfortable. That makes me feel good, right? We can do that. But if they're not willing to communicate through even that, or they're misunderstanding, then they're not providing quality communication. If I say something that sounds bad to you, let me know. If I say something that sounds crazy, say, hey, I don't like the way this sounded. It made me feel like this. Is that how you meant it? Is that what you're trying to say? I just want to make sure. So then I can say, oh no, here's how I meant it. Okay, so you meant it like X. See, a lot of us would benefit from relationship pattern adjustments, right? Like communication pattern adjustments. We need adjustments. Try this. I'm gonna give everyone a piece of gold right now. You wanna communicate better with your partner? Like right now. You wanna know one trick. I'm gonna give you this before the webinar tomorrow, okay? But I got a lot more in the webinar. You wanna know a trick to fixing your communication style right now, both of you. When a person tells you what they're feeling, when a person tells you their point of view, Instead of immediately saying what you think and trying to prove them wrong, reply with their question. Let's say the person says, oh, well, I didn't like it that, the way you talked to me earlier was bad and I felt disrespected. So here's what you say. So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure I understand. Earlier today, when I said that I needed you to take out the trash because I was hurrying and on the way out, my tone in saying it was making you feel bad, right? Then they can say, yeah, that made me feel bad. Okay. So let me ask you a question. How could I make that better for you? And just wait. You see how easy that is? A lot of y'all are actually doing this harder. You're taking the harder route. You're actually trying to argue your point. You don't need to do that. You don't need to argue with people. Be above the argument. I teach my students this all the time. I teach people in my community spaces all the time. You don't need to be going toe to toe with this person and you're this and you don't need to do all of that. Take a step back. So let me get this straight. This is what you said. And this is how you want me to reply. And this is how you take it, right? So what do I do? Let them answer it. Let them give you the alternative before you provide it. Because what you're going to do naturally is defend yourself, right? You're going to go into a defensive position and you're going to start over-explaining. But you don't have to do that. I promise 90 to 95% of your discussions will never end in an argument. You won't let it. Arguments require two people. So when you say we got into a heated argument, it was both of you providing that kind of energy. So then that's it. What if they don't answer and they are avoidant? Then they are not healthy for a relationship. Do you understand that let me tell you people, there are unhealthy styles of attachment. Anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, avoidant dismissive. Those are unhealthy styles. You have two ways to go about this. You either become okay with it or you don't. You can't make that work. There's no way, because it's their responsibility to manage their own attachment style. I used to have extreme anxious attachment. You couldn't go 30 to 45 minutes without talking to me without me assuming that you're doing something. And I was able to dial it back and get my mind regulated again. I had to do that for myself. No one could do that for me. You could have explained it to me 10 different ways and I would have still had something in my head. But that's what you got to work through. You can work through this. You can work through bad attachment styles, unhealthy attachment styles. You can work through that and you can find a way to get to secure attachment. That's what working with a coach will do. Right? That's what working with me does. It took me working with a counselor to get through that. I can get you through it. But you got to come to my webinar tomorrow. So go ahead and click the link in my bio tonight because the webinar is tomorrow. And make sure you're in so I can get you on that morning text. I want to get you on the morning bliss. I am anxious. Okay. How do I stop thinking he's going to treat the supply better? Well, he might treat the supply better. That is probably a fact. Because most people treat people good when they first meet them. Why do you have to lie to yourself? Or why do you have to make that better for yourself? If that's the reality, then that's what it is. What you need to do instead is become comfortable with the reality. Because here's the thing, and this is going to sting for a lot of us. No one is entitled to anyone, right? I'm not entitled to someone's next action. You are not entitled to someone's next action. If someone wants to go out and do whatever the heck they want, and it's against what you want, they can do that. No matter how much you're in a relationship, no matter how much good you do, no matter how amazing you are, it does not entitle you to the next decision a person is gonna make. And sometimes we have trouble letting that sink in a little bit. Like, but what if this person goes and treats this person better? What if they go out and live their lives separately from me and now they're happier without me? Maybe. But see, what we might be missing here is that you're not thinking about yourself enough. You're putting them in prime real estate in the limelight. You're saying this person is going to be better off. They manipulated you. They gaslit you. They made you feel like you had no worth. They discarded you. And you think that the next person, they're just going to be Prince Charming forever? See, here's what I want a lot of us to understand in here. If a person was manipulative for longer than 3 to 6 months, that's probably a part of their character. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of their character. So yes, they might meet someone new. They might discard you and run to someone else. But the odds that they're just gonna become a different person overnight is low-key impossible. People don't just become different overnight. That's your mind playing tricks on you. That's your mind telling you things. But your mind is going to try to motivate you to reach out to this person because you feel like I deserve that good treatment. I've been putting up with this crazy for years. I've been putting up with this crazy, and I'm not getting the benefits that I deserve from all this work I put in. I got news. You put in work for the wrong person. This person didn't deserve that work in the first place. That's the reality. So you think you built all of this, but in reality, you just gave the wrong person a lot of good stuff. This person is not in a space to appreciate. This person is not in a space to love, and they weren't in a space to be respectful, mutually understanding, and make things make sense. They were there to destroy. So no, you're not missing out on benefits. You're actually losing dead weight. What's going on, Tice? What's going on, boy? It's my brother. That is my brother, man. My brothers are on here. What does it mean when a guy stares at you hard? I don't know. Maybe he likes you. I have no idea. Depends on where it's at. He doesn't text me till 6 p.m. Should I pull back or is it normal after a month? Seems low effort. Does he have a job? If he has a 9 to 5, I mean, that sounds like 9 to 5. You know, like, does he have, like, some people focus at their, that's the only thing that comes up in my head is like, maybe he has a day job. Maybe he is very focused. I have a friend who gets very focused at his day job, and you can't catch him until 6 p.m. He just takes it very serious. Where do I sign up for your webinar? Go to the link in my bio. If you go off of the live from TikTok and you go to the link in my bio and click, you can sign up on the form. On Instagram, the form is in my bio, so make sure you get it because tomorrow's the big day. No, he tells me he was asleep. Well, here's what I would say. If it's been a month and you haven't seen the type of consistency that you would like to see in a potential boyfriend, then I would probably chill. You know, I would pull back because me personally, I would pull back because I would feel like I'm putting too much energy and I need a certain amount of energy reciprocated, right? I don't like having unreciprocal energy, but here's the thing, you can't control him, right? You can't make him do more. That would be forceful or manipulation. So what you want to do instead is just do differently on your own, right? Do differently for yourself. You got to say to yourself, you know what? I'm not getting what I need and I'm putting in too much effort. I'm going to put in less because it'll make me feel better. When you think in terms of what's going to make you feel better, then it'll get better. You know what I mean? There's still some awesome men out there. Yes. Absolutely. Why does an ex that dumps you be thank you, H Town, for the gift, be mad and trying to hurt you? Be mad and trying to hurt you. I don't know. Your statement, although sounds direct, sounds a little vague. Thank you so much, H Town. I don't know if I can say your name on here. Why is he telling me I'm wonderful and deserve better, but broke up with me because I wanted him to meet me twice a week? Because he doesn't want to meet you twice a week. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? Like he doesn't want to meet you more than once a week. He probably wants to hang out with other people. I mean, to me, it sounds like someone who wants to date around a little bit. And he's right. Like, here's the thing. When dudes say stuff like that, believe it. When they say stuff like that, we don't just say stuff like that. You know what I mean? You deserve better. Oh yeah, he meant that. That's what he's saying. He's basically saying, you deserve better, which I'm not. So at this point, here's the thing. Thank you, Yos. I don't even know how to say your name. Yos. So, but here's the thing. If a guy says, thank you, H-Town. Wow, those are cool. If a dude says like, oh, you could do better than me, you deserve a great man or anything like that, let me tell you something. The second that you try to get with him again, it is fully on you, because this man told you. This man, if he tells you, thank you, H-Town. Thank you so much for the bracelet. If he told you and then you still go back, at this point, now it's on you, because he might still entertain it, but now he's going to entertain it on different terms. He's going to be giving you that pullback energy, that I'm trying to be a single man out here energy, right? Or I'm trying to date someone else. If a guy says, you're too good for me, you deserve better, you're too much, believe it. And honestly, what you can say at that point is, understood, thank you for letting me know. I'll find someone else. That's it. That's it. You could hope the best for him. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, and I hope you find someone who can match the energy you're looking for. Because let me tell you something. Some dudes will purposely say that, sometimes hoping that you'll still try to chase them. And then that's when you're about to get tortured. Like, they're about to mess with your head so bad. Because you know what they're going to say. They're going to be like, I gave her the disclaimer and she's still trying to date me. That's on her. Of course, I'm going to take these benefits, but it's on her. See? That's, you're going to set yourself up. Don't do it. I'm only started seeing a few weeks ago. He keeps telling me I'm wrong and gets defensive when I tell him he isn't understanding. Then he does understand. Then he says he does understand. Does he explain how he understands? You can't just say I understand and not tell me how you understand. You got to tell me how. He lied saying he was with his mom at the hospital, but he was in Dallas drinking with a woman. Well, you were lied to. Yes. So what are you going to do? What are you looking for at this point? He was the one who asked for the committed relationship. Doesn't matter. People change their mind. Do men regret after a breakup, and wouldn't a man stop talking to me if he was really done? Why does that matter? See, here's the thing. You could answer that question both ways. Some men regret that they broke up with you. Some men are like, dang, she was a good one. Some men don't regret it at all. Some men were willing to make that decision because they were already entertaining someone else. I don't think he's really done. Just don't think he's really done. Yeah, well, the problem with your statement is that only exists in your mind. See, he has his own mind. And if you're looking for behaviors that he has to justify what you're thinking, then yeah, that's easy. We could do that with anything, right? I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you might want to think in those terms. This thought process only exists with me. If a man really wanted me, then he would make it obvious. He wouldn't be playing games. He wouldn't be trying to beat around the bush. Because you shouldn't be trying to think with the few actions that he's shown you that there's hope. You shouldn't have to be in that position. So the second you find yourself in a position trying to say, well, maybe they do, maybe they would, maybe it could, then you already know you've gone too far. Because now you're using your mind to try to fill in the gap. Because the reality is, when a person creates distance, it can create obsession. Listen to me when I say this. When a person creates distance, it can also create obsession. Because now with this distance, you have no clarity. So it's easy for you to use that distance to fill in whatever you think. And most of the time, what we think is hopeful. Well, maybe this could happen. Maybe this is going to happen. But the reality is, and this might hurt some people, the reality is we can't cope. We can't cope. So instead of taking that time to sit with the distance and saying, this person said it's over, I just need to be okay with that. I just need to come to terms with that. We try to fill it in. We try to make our brains start to do work and make us feel like we're still in it, even though this person has already stepped out. In fact, we make our brains work so hard sometimes that we actually convince ourselves that they're still in it. Sometimes we make our brains work so hard that we actually convince ourselves that the other person is still in the relationship that they have left. So we're in a relationship with ourselves and a version of them that only exists in our minds. We not only do this in breakups, we do this in relationships, we do this in marriages. I see it all the time. I see married couples say stuff like this. Well, they're like this. I know them to be like this. That's how you know them. People can change whenever they want to. Well, they usually do this. That's what you've seen. Well, I don't understand this new person. You know what's funny about the human brain? This might freak some of y'all out. How come it's so easy for us to accept their changes when it's good? But when the changes are bad, all of a sudden, it's not them. Why don't we say that when they do good things? You know why? Because that's easier to accept. That's easier to accept as a change than the bad stuff. We want the bad stuff to go away. We want the good stuff here. Sometimes we work so hard that we ignore the bad stuff and we just keep filling in with more good stuff. Sometimes so much we want it, we excuse the bad stuff and fill in with more good stuff. We tend to have a struggle accepting exactly what this person is. Not who they could be, not who they were, not what they told you, not what they said, but what exactly they showed you. What exact action happened. We can't. But we can accept it when it's good. We can accept it when it's real good. Because we're like, oh man, you know, like this is good. This is a change that works. This is a change I'm looking for. Keep this forever. You know, like this is your new personality. I'm on board, right? Yes. When a person comes up to you and says, you know what? I just realized I want to take you out on a date every week. Really? We're convinced. It doesn't take much after that. We're good. When a person ignores you after you talked about your feelings, we can't accept it. This is an unacceptable person. This is not you. This doesn't exist. I can't believe this. See, when a person, and we're going in today, when a person says, I'm going to change, I'm going to make the changes you need, more than 2-3 times, for the same shit, and then they don't do it, that is their personality. But we can't accept that either. They have told you multiple times that they would change, and they didn't. But we can't accept that. Saying you are going to change and then continuing to not change is a pattern. Saying you are going to change and continuing to not change is a pattern, but we don't accept it. So then you know what this causes us to do? Because we don't want to accept the reality that's in our face, it causes us to constantly be a victim. I've been a victim 15 times to the person that did the same crime the same way. Could have walked away, could have called it what it is, but I stayed. And I'm a victim yet again. Not to say anything is good or bad, but do you see the position that puts you in? So that's why you have to ask yourself, do you want to continue being a victim? Because being a victim can be a role, right? It can be a role. You have to constantly get let down. You have to constantly be told this ain't gonna work. You have to constantly be in a position where they're gonna call you out or they're gonna disappoint you. That's a role, baby. Do you want that role? Do you really want that? Because in order to be in that role, you're gonna have to always be let down. Always. You're not gonna have a normal relationship. You're not gonna have a mutual loving, birds and daffodils, white picket fence, the dog, the cats. You're not gonna get any of that. If you wanna stay here. I'm not saying the relationship, I'm saying the role. You can get out of the role and not leave the relationship. And that's what I'm teaching in my webinar tomorrow. Taking your power back. Because in order to stay in that space, you have to give the power. We're gonna take your power back. I don't want any of us giving power to people that don't deserve it. I don't want any of us giving power to people that misuse it and abuse it. I want people that cherish and appreciate your essence, your love, your will, your determination, your strength, your perseverance. I want people that appreciate it and then they fill it back up for you. I want you to be happy as hell. So I'm about to drop because we have much to do. I've got to make sure I get it finalized tonight because of course I'm a perfectionist, but I want to make sure I jumped on today to spread love and cheer. I love y'all. Make sure all of you right now drop everything you're doing. Go get to my Instagram or to my TikTok. If you're on TikTok, go off the live to my TikTok, click the link in the bio and sign up for my webinar. If you're on Instagram, click off of Instagram, go to the link on my Instagram, sign up for the webinar, and let's get cracking, y'all. Because tomorrow's gonna be a big day for y'all, and I'm gonna make sure that you get what you need. Anyway, I love you, I appreciate you. Let's have a great evening. Take time, relax, get some sleep, okay? Go to bed early tonight, because you're gonna have a big day tomorrow. But anyway, love y'all, appreciate y'all, and let's do it. Bye, y'all.